What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Piscifun YouTube channel. My name is Cody Solberg. For those of you that do not know me, I do run a YouTube channel here. I do a lot of walleye fishing, salmon fishing, and then we're going to be getting into some ice fishing here soon too as well. But I am also a multi-species guide here in Wisconsin. I actually fish the waters of Green Bay and Lake Michigan quite a bit. And as you can tell by the title of this video, I just kind of wanted to run through 5 techniques that I absolutely love for this late summer to fall transition time frame. A lot of these bait presentations that I'm going to show you are some presentations that I absolutely love during the mid-summer time as well. Some of these baits have been showcased really well on my channel, and then there's actually a video that I posted on the Piscifun channel here a couple of weeks ago that showcased a few of these baits as well. So today I just kind of want to break down those baits, how you can use them, and why I love using them on Green Bay this time of the year. Before we go ahead and dive in, if you guys are new here, be sure to go down and hit that subscribe button down below. There's always new awesome content coming out here on the Piscifun YouTube channel that you definitely do not want to miss out on. So smash that subscribe button. Let's go ahead and dive into this. So the first presentation that I want to talk about is the one that you guys have probably seen me use on this channel already. This is a Kalin's search bait. Basically how I like to explain this bait is it's a castable crawler harness. Now there's a lot of different versions of this bait out there. I've used them all. You can even create your own. There's a lot of different stuff that you can do that really revolve around this slow death style of presentation. And just one of my favorites that I've come to love over the last year here is the Kalin search bait. You can get this bait in a lot of different colors. Here you can see I have the gold version, and then I also have this green version too as well that actually performed really well for me this year. There's a couple of different sizes that you can go with. Some of my favorites are the 3/8 version and then the 5/8 version. I just find these to be the most versatile in my opinion. I'm out on the water. If I'm fishing some shallower water, I can definitely get away with that 3/8 version. If I'm fishing some deeper water, some quicker action, I might upgrade to that 5/8 version just to get the bait down there a little bit quicker. However, I have noticed in certain instances where fish can be just a little bit more lethargic, you might want to go with that smaller size just for the fact of you're going to be able to hover that bait above that fish just a little bit longer. It's not going to drop as fast, and you might just entice that bite over a heavier jig. So it really depends on the day. It's definitely something that you have to play around with and kind of figure out what the fish want that day. So you basically rig up a crawler, then you will cast this out and retrieve it back to the boat very slowly. Again, just a very versatile bait. There's a lot of different variations out there of this, but just something that you definitely want to have in your arsenal when you're going out fishing in the summer for walleyes. So this next presentation that I want to show you guys is just a very tried and true presentation. This thing has been around for years, and it has proven itself to catch a lot of fish, especially in the Great Lakes system. Just being that there are actually gobies in this system that these fish are feeding on, this presentation right here can be a very popular one throughout the Great Lakes. And this is actually called a Shiver Minnow. Now, for those of you that might not have seen this style of Shiver Minnow before, this is actually a fat bottom Shiver Minnow from Moonshine. It's just a little different presentation. The profile is going to look very similar. It is going to have a more flat bottom that's going to kind of allow this bait to glide just a little bit further. It's not going to drop quite as fast. And then you're also going to notice that you have a front hook on this Shiver Minnow too as well. Now, I don't want to get into detail on the different styles of Shiver Minnows here for Moonshine. They do have a lot of different colors and a lot of different sizes that you can choose. And again, it's just going to come down to what the fish are kind of looking for that day, or maybe even the depth of water that you're fishing in. There's a lot of different variables that go into choosing colors and choosing size, but these Shiver Minnows have just proven to catch a lot of walleyes over the years. And here's a size 3 standard Shiver Minnow that you guys are probably used to seeing. Again, a very good color right here on the Great Lakes system, but these baits are reactionary style baits. So what these baits are meant to do are really fire those fish up when they're not in a feeding mood. So if you're noticing that those night crawlers really aren't getting the bites for you, try throwing some Shiver Minnows out, giving them some really hard rips off the bottom, make those fish react and get a bite. And that is exactly what these reactionary style baits are designed to do. Now, there's a ton of different variations out there of snap jigs. Again, this is just one. This is called the Shiver Minnow. I did have another one out here. This is actually an Acme Hyper Rattle right here. Again, just another very similar style of presentation with that action. You're basically lifting this bait up a couple inches off the bottom, and it's just kind of looking like a goby down there. Again, there's a ton of different variations out there that you can get. Jigging wraps are another big key player from Rapala on Green Bay too as well. So just another presentation that you can throw at these walleyes that might just be being a little finicky. So definitely check out some snap jigs. You're gonna wanna have them in your arsenal when you're going out finding walleyes for summer, or even that late summer to early fall time periods when that water's really warm and those fish might just not be active. Sometimes you can get them to go on those types of presentations. Another tried and true presentation is just a simple jig head. You can see I got 2 jig heads here, 1/4 ounce. There's a lot of different things that you can do with a jig head. You can put a plastic on it, you could put a leech on it, maybe a night crawler or even a minnow. They're all kind of presentations that work during this time of the year. Again, it's just gonna depend on what type of ecosystem that you're fishing in, or what type of presentation that you're really trying to show those walleyes. Shallow weed bays and you're finding walleyes in there, you know, maybe you're gonna go with a jig and a leech just because that's potentially what those fish could be feeding on, depending on what type of body of water that you're on. You can put these under a float, which can also be a very fun way to fish. Power corking, especially with the advancements of technology and forward-facing sonar. Power corking can be a very great way to pull fish out of weeds effectively, and these jig heads will allow you to do that. So just another solid, simple presentation that you want to add to your tackle box. If you're heading out searching for some summertime walleyes, or even that late summer into early fall and pretty much all through fall, this presentation, especially with live bait, can be very deadly when it gets to that time of the year. Another bait that has kind of become popular over the last couple of years, especially on Green Bay, is a simple jigging spoon. Now this bait is very simple to use. Again, it's gonna be more of like a snapping action that's kind of similar to the Shiver Minnows or the snap jigs that we talked about earlier. And what you're trying to basically mimic with these spoons is just a dying bait fish. Now, one of the reasons why this bait shines, especially during the month of June on Green Bay, is because of the invasion of the alewife to Green Bay. Now, these alewives actually migrate over from Lake Michigan when that water temperature hits the perfect spot. And during this time, it can be a little tricky to get walleyes to bite, just simply because of the obnoxious amounts of bait fish in the water. The jigging spoon will look a lot like those alewives that the fish are now feeding on. And it's just an easy way to kind of mimic the bait fish that the fish are actually feeding on. Matching the hatch can definitely be a real thing, and these jigging spoons can help you do that. There's a lot of different sizes, again, a lot of different colors, and a lot of different variations of these spoons that you can get out there. My personal opinion, especially on the Great Lakes, you kind of want to stick with those chrome colors. Blue chrome, anything flashy, especially in that clear water when the sun gets high, you really want to look like a dying bait fish. And those alewives have a really subtle silver back to them, so they really shine in the water. And if they're kind of struggling to swim or anything like that, that's what you want to try to mimic. Those fish will pick those bait fish out very quickly, and if you can mimic that with one of these jigging spoons, you're definitely going to get bit during that time of the year. So just another solid presentation that you're going to want to add to your arsenal for certain times of the year. So check out some jigging spoons. These baits can shine from as early as late spring all the way through fall as well. Just another solid presentation. All right, last but not least, this presentation that I'm going to show you here is a presentation that I kind of strictly only focus on during the later half of summer as we start moving into fall and those water temperatures really start to drop again. It can be a reactionary style bait again in the spring too as well. However, I don't find myself using this bait a ton during the midsummer months. But once you start to get that drop in water temperature, and sometimes those fish kind of start to get a little lethargic during those transition periods from season to season, this can be a very deadly bait, and this is just a simple blade bait. I also have another example of a blade bait here too as well. Now, again, there's a lot of different styles of blade baits, a lot of different brands of blade baits out there. It's just kind of going to come down to personal preference. I have really found some success on the V-rods from Acme. I've also had some success on customized blade baits from local dealers too as well. But again, just another deadly bait during the correct times of year. that late summer to fall transition period. Those fish, you know, they could tend to seem to get a little bit lethargic during that time period, just because, you know, the water's turning over, things are starting to change, water temps are starting to drop, and you might be looking for more of a reaction style bait to kind of really hone in on a few of those bites. Now, those snap jigs that we talked about earlier can be a very good presentation for this, but sometimes it can be almost a little bit too aggressive. And what you can do with these blade baits is just kind of slow it down just a little bit, still ripping it up off the bottom with some strong vibration. These fish are going to feel that. If it goes right by their face, again, they're going to have a couple seconds to think about if they're going to eat that bait or not. So it can be a very good reactionary style bait. Again, this is a bait that I use heavily in the spring, not so much throughout the summer, but once we start getting into those late summer periods into fall, again, with that transition period being in there, I will start to kind of focus on using some blade baits again. Again, a very solid bait, definitely add it to your arsenal. So those are just a few of my favorites to run here in Green Bay. Again, I find myself using these baits pretty much all summer long, late summer months, and then into fall too as well. So hopefully this video taught you something about what we are using here in the Great Lakes. Again, a lot of these baits can apply to a lot of inland bodies of water too as well. So I don't think you only need these baits if you're fishing a Great Lake. There's a lot of different bodies of water that these presentations will really shine on too as well. So go ahead, grab yourself some of these baits, use them on the lakes around you, and see if they help you catch some more fish. Thank you guys again. My name is Cody. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.